Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at a Grimstroke replay for battery here, /SR question mark question mark question mark. I'm going to say that every time, of course. I'm excited about this one because I like Grimstroke a lot and saw this post looking to master Grimstroke. I don't think I've mastered Grimstroke, but I do play him a lot, or at least I did. I don't play him as much now because I feel like he's been nerfed a lot, understandably, but Open Dota says I'm like top 100 something, which is pretty hype, but also I don't know how accurate that stuff is. But at the least, I think I can help out Ancient 7 around here. So, like I said, excited about it. So first off, as we load in, I picked this game from your profile because you had a lot played. This one was a loss, and I picked this one because I liked it. Like if I was Grimstroke, I would feel good about this game. So I felt like that was a good example of like since it lost, like I thought there's a good chance something went wrong here that I could hopefully help out. Um, Also based on the stuff you said in your Reddit post, you felt that as the game went on, well, first off, you felt like you were having trouble keeping the game short, and that they ended up stretching out kind of long, and you felt your effectiveness getting worse uh, because of like they get pipe, manta, BKB, and you didn't feel like you were contributing as much. So to address that first, before I even get going in the rest, I think that you might be thinking about it in the wrong way. Um, the wording in the post, anyways, made me feel like you were thinking it in a very like self-focused way. Which, yes, when you're playing pubs, that is kind of how you have to think about and improve, like in terms of yourself. But the thing with playing support, and Grimstroke especially, is it's very much about the team more so than usual. Because, like, they get a pipe. Okay, but really, you're not meant to be dealing that much magic damage? When you use Stroke of Fate on someone in the late game, it's for the 80% slow, not so much the damage. The damage is just a bonus. If they manta your silence, that is unfortunate, but I mean, yeah, that one's unfortunate. You can think of it the other way, like, oh, they had to use my manta, they had to use their manta on my silence, and now CM can root them or something. Um, or sometimes you have to wait out their manta. That one's kind of just like play by play kind of thing. But the BKB one in particular, sure, you can't do damage to them, but I would argue you're actually more annoying to BKB users than the other way around. The reason a BKB user, the reason a carry pops BKB, right? In that time, they want to be invincible. They want to be doing whatever they want because they can't be hit by magic. They can't be stunned, usually, right? They want to be free to do anything. And that's why Stroke of Soulbind is so annoying to that, is because you leash them to someone, right? So like Jug tries to spin away. He can do that almost every game, but suddenly he can't because you soulbind him, right? This guy tries to BKB and sprint around like infinite speed of light, right? Because you're all low. But he can't because he's soulbound to someone. So while yes, it does counter a lot of stuff about you, I would say that you're being very annoying to them and that you are a position 4 or 5 support. And that is far more annoying to them, than you being canceled out because you use it to be annoying and to enable your team. So if you're being countered, that's not such a big deal. You're just the position 4 or 5. So in that sense, I felt like maybe that was just like a view thing. You're not meant to solo. Um, and also, well, I'll talk about it as the game goes on. You starting Q level 1, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to look at your items real quick first. I don't love it, to be honest, because are you the 4 or the 5? You're walking bottom like you're the 5. Okay, so first of all, I prefer Grimstroke. There's a lot to unpack here. First, I prefer Grimstroke as a 4 because I think he farms pretty well, and you want to justify that by being the 4 and being able to buy items. As a 5, I don't feel like you can do as much because, like, the best you can do is if the lane is tough, you use Stroke of Fate to like secure the range creep, you know? Otherwise, like you accidentally push the wave too much as a 4 or as a 5. And as a 4, that's not a big deal. But as a 5, it's a pain. And a lot of times as a 5, you don't have someone who can kill with you. When you pick Grimstroke, you really want to... It's kind of like Io. You need someone you can play with. Either in the late game, like say Doom. Doom synergizes really well with your Soulbind. But you also want, in the early laning stage, someone to synergize with your Inkswell very well. Which is why I don't like this, by the way. Because, let's say, Wraith King, right? In this case, it works out. Wraith King's with you bottom. Wraith King stuns, and then you Inkswell him, and, like, you get a double stun, right? And you get auto attack that whole time. It does a ton of damage. It's really nice synergy. So if you don't have someone with you that makes use of Inkswell, like let's say you had a Drow, then it feels really bad. It feels really bad to have to Inkswell yourself and run in and stun them, you know? You want it to be the follow-up to combo. And that's why I think it's better level 1 than Stroke of Fate. I only start Stroke of Fate level 1 if I don't think I can get a kill in lane, and I just use it to get the range creep, like I said earlier. But you have, you know, either lane you go to here, you have a really good laning partner with it. So I think Inkswell would be a lot better to start. Alright, I ended up talking about these before I talked about these. But now this. You're the 5. Pugna got his from CM, I guess?
Contest is in
wow,
the bag.
What is this? We have some replay bugs here. You gonna get it from her? What's going on here? Alright, so he's getting tangos from her, right? Usually that should come from you as the position 5. In this case it's not, but you're still only at 3 tangos, which I don't love. You're a really strong laner, so you want to be in lane as much as you can. So, for example, I would get something like 2 tangos, a salve, maybe the wards if I have to, or a sentry if I need it. And then with whatever else is in my money, I buy like 2 or 3 mangoes. The reason I buy mangoes over Clarity is because look at your spells, right? 100, 110, 120. And it's only going to get worse as you go. Your intelligence gain... What? Okay, this is bugged. It's a replay bug. It's definitely not. It's like 3.8 is your intelligence gain, which is pretty good, actually. But you're still going to have mana issues, right? And your usual combo, right, is like you Inkswell and Phantom's Embrace someone. And then as the stun wears off, you Stroke of Fate them so that they're slowed. And then possibly cast Phantom's Embrace again if it refreshed. And then if they still manage to escape from you, right, then maybe you can Stroke of Fate snipe them, right? So that's 4 or 5 casts, right? Even if it was just 3, that's your whole mana pool, right? If you need to use it 5 times, like, you do not, like, Clarities will not help you with that because you can't use them. You can pop a Clarity and you'll get, like, 10 mana in that time frame, you know? So that's why you need the mangoes, is to, like, burst through these spells as you need them to try to secure these kills. Windlace really doesn't do much for you because, like I said, you don't want to be the one who Inkswells and then stands on top of them. You want to Inkswell your Wraith King, who's on top of them, and then you're, like, not really moving. I just feel like Windlace does not contribute that much to... It's hard to explain. Like, movement speed does help in laning, but I just feel like, in this case, it just doesn't do that much for you. I would much rather have extra mangoes, and the salve is like an extra life in the laning stage, you know, so I would just like those items a lot more. What are you looking at? I'm on perspective, right? What's going on? Are you AFK? You don't want to have both wards. Pass one to your mid laner, probably. And, who are the lanes? So I guess CM's top with Doom. They don't have to have a ward, but they can, I guess. And then, I would definitely give Pugna a ward. I think that's really useful for him, because he has such long attack range. But you definitely don't need both. One at most. Definitely share it. This is a little weird. Broodmother bottom. I guess she didn't want to lane against Pugna, but it's still kind of weird. So I do like, you know, you're at least using Stroke of Fate. You definitely want to use spells early, make use of that mana regen. And I like that you auto-attacked her. But I still prefer Inkswell. We're gonna see if it comes up. I think it will. Yeah, you're definitely... This is a combo that can contest runes. I feel like this is a kill. Broodmother always starts webs, right? If she doesn't start webs, she starts her Q, but she should start webs. So she really doesn't contribute much to this kind of like rune fighting. And he has 1 stun. So if Wraith King stuns and then you follow up Inkswell, like honestly I think you could kill him, right? You got him to about like 2/3 only auto attacking. Imagine if you had 2 stuns on that, right? So the combo would be like he stuns, and then you Inkswell, then there's a bit of a slow from the stun, right? And then that makes sure that Wraith King can stay on top of him, still auto-attacking, plus he has the movement speed bonus from your Inkswell. Then Inkswell pops, and then, like, if you guys get 2 auto-attacks in, like, your 1-second stun, that's 200 damage, right? If you both do about 50. And then he's got his stun, which is another second. This could also be a kill if you had Inkswell, right? You combo it with You were a little far in that case. Let's see. Yeah, so your cast range is really short on Inkswell, so maybe you have to use it on yourself in this case. Maybe you have time to run up and cast it on him. I'm not sure, but either way, like, you canceled it. That would have gotten him low, but imagine if you stunned him and then you both got off another couple attacks. I think that could have been a kill, honestly. Right now, you want to go chase him, too. You don't want to be... Like, he can do this denying stuff himself. He was at, like, 2/3 health, half health. You want to be over there, because you're at full health and full mana, right? So you're not going to trade the most effectively with him, but just by virtue of, like, the fact that you're at full health, and he doesn't have spiders yet, you want to, like, get a couple auto attacks in. He is at his weakest right now, right? You don't want her, I guess, right? You don't want her to be able to just, like, sit here and sap XP. Wraith King should be using his Quelling Blade. He has one, right? Yeah, he should be using this to, like, cut trees. Tell him, if he doesn't do it himself, tell him to just keep cutting trees against a Broodmother so she can't sit in the trees like this. And you just go and find her and auto-attack her. If you get to about, like, here, then you can back off and go heal, you know? But get a couple auto-attacks off at this stage when you're both level 1. Because if she commits and tries to fight you, Wraith King can just walk up and stun, you know? Or she'll run away from that. But either way, just letting her sap XP for free right here. And you guys are having to split it because, yeah, Earthshaker went top. So I don't like this. And I think you should just auto-attack. Okay, you had the right idea to at least deny. But once it hits half, I think you can just start auto-attacking it to try to keep the bounce in your favor. And now you're able to pull. I would do that. Because he can last hit under tower very well. Oh, you also have a Crystal Maiden on your team, so that's another reason that you don't really need Clarities. See, this is like, I think that's another chance where Inkswell could get a kill instead of a slow. Because you slow him, but he just runs through trees, so what are you going to do, you know? Or up and down a cliff, if he was mid. Against Broodmother, you need stuns more than you need slows. This is a little hopeful. It's really hard to chase him through the trees. Right?
Thanks and have fun.
I'm okay with throwing out Stroke of Fate randomly a bit, you know, but these two are very long cooldowns, and they still cost a lot of mana, so you want to be a little more careful when you use those two. Yeah, right now I feel like you're not really needed here. I think you should be pulling. I feel like right now you're just sapping XP, and like, it's not necessarily your fault, but like, you can't really trade with a Broodmother that well. Careful. I think you were at full, right? You just took a bunch of damage for no reason. Not the biggest deal, I guess. Pulling is good, though. Okay, you had the right idea, you just missed it a little bit. Could have used Stroke of Fate, but I don't mind that you didn't. You have a CM, though, so it's not a big deal if you do. Oh, nice. I like that. As long as you do it from the trees, it's really good. I don't know why she's down here. Maybe you guys communicated that or something. I don't feel like she's doing that much. I think this must be... I guess the latest patch must have messed up some of the replay stuff. See, right now, I don't feel like you're doing much. You are staying out of sight. That's good. You're kind of looking for an opportunity to use Q. But there's been 3 top, you know, and at this level, Broodmother is unlikely to kill him too quickly without you being able to, like, at least get close and, like, Q or something and help out. Right now, I just feel like you're splitting XP a lot with him, and you should just be, like, continuously pulling or something. Because she has to be where her webs are. And now she's 4, so now she can move. But earlier, when she only had 2 webs, right, she was kind of stuck to being here, so she can't really contest pulls. And, like, doing it from sight, I think is just hard, right? And you're kind of, like, pushing the wave with it, too. And that's a 5, it's not really what you want to do. I think Earn this game is really good. We look at, let's get rid of this. Mainly, a couple reasons. You can get the Ring of Protection from the side shop, so you get 2 armor. Very good against spiderlings, right? If there are like 10 spiderlings hitting you a couple times, it builds up, what I'm saying. And also, it's a very good soul vessel game. It doesn't combine with your ultimate, which is unfortunate. I'd probably bust it if it did. But you've got like a Bloodseeker, you've got a Healing Ward, you've got a Broodmother ultimate. You know, there's a lot of reasons to get a soul vessel this game. CM's not really the reason. She's not really someone who buys it, and none of your cores should really buy it either. Grimstroke can be played very aggressively. You know, you're always looking for kills. So Earn really combines well with that. And then, you know, it just helps you tank up and all that. So I just think it's a really good item. Get it really early because, again, you're an early aggressor. And also to build up Earn charges because Soul Vessel only gets 1, but you get 2 for Earn. So, you know, stockpile a few. Yeah. Well, you have a Crystal Maiden, so I don't mind you doing it, except for the fact that it is, like, slowly pushing the wave a bit. And you should probably be positioning for runes. Especially since there's, like, 3 top, you should be getting both of these runes. Instead of Wraith King, he's the one doing it now. See, this is good because you're in the trees, so she has no... Like, she doesn't know she has to avoid it. Rather than you throwing them out here. But I don't mind it since you have CM Aura. So right now, like, you don't need to be here. I would go pull. You're just, like, sapping XP from him. This is, like, the safest spot the lane could possibly be in, and you're still, like, right here. And you guys are on the same... Oh, you're ahead of him, even. That's not good. Right? Okay, first I was going to say, if you're ever ahead of your carry in levels, on equal footing or ahead, past, like, level 1 or 2, you need to consider asking yourself, am I being here? Am I sitting in lane too much? It's really... Like, a good idea is for the carry to hit, like, 3 when you're 2, 4 when you're, like, about 3, 5 when you're 3, and then, like, he hits 6, you hit 4-ish, around there. That's a better level distribution a bit than 4 and 4. Grimstroke does want to hit 6 pretty quickly, and more importantly 10 pretty quickly. This is also bugged, I see. But not too much at the cost of sapping XP. You want him to hit 6 so you can leave him here, walk away, and then just TP in when he needs it. And he can do that a lot more safely when he's 6. Okay, I wanted to see this. You should use Phantom Embrace, I think. Happens to go through spiders, pretty good. 54. Yeah. So you want to use your Phantom's Embrace to give... I'm pretty sure it gives sight, and also just the fact it would have done damage. She was stunned, and then follow-up stunned. That would have been a kill, and you had the mana for it, so just commit it, you know? You probably still would have died to the spiderlings, but I think Wraith King would have gotten out instead of chasing in the trees and dying. Now she's pulled ahead from you guys quite a bit.
You die, yet your
so even though it's kind of at the cost of Wraith King, you're doing very well. So you can look to make plays with Doom. One of the things you said was that the games tend to go long for you. You had trouble doing more early or like ending fast. And part of that is like calling for plays with Doom, for example, with Soulbind. So we're gonna see if you do that. I don't like that you did this. I think you just pushed the wave. Wraith King, it was finally safe for Wraith King to farm, and you just like cleared the whole wave out. And I think the wave is now gonna like move up on you guys. Or it's at least gonna push because you have like a full wave, and you're still just sitting here. You gotta farm. I mean, you gotta pull. Yeah, see now the wave's like up here, and you have a second creep wave coming in. I wouldn't cast. You called to go, but then like he wasn't, so I don't know if you want to use it. It turned out it refreshed, but this gives like 30 or 40 gold if they get it, and it has a really long cooldown, so you want to be a little conservative with it. Sitting in trees out of sight is good, but I still think probably pulling. Well, Lion's here, so it's kind of okay to be a bit nearer. All right, nice. That was very lucky. As he sent the spiderlings at you as you cast it. I don't know if you planned that. Big IQ plays, but that worked out. That was the right combo. W and E. Make them have to choose whether to remove this or get stunned, or walk away from the stun but get silenced the whole time and then damaged and then refresh the stun even, you know, or refresh the silence.
You could be so much more.
I don't love this. We're gonna go back. I don't love the chase, but I think it could have worked out if you played a little better. Let's slow down.
You could be so much more.
I don't know how to explain it. I think if you just play against Earthshaker a lot, but you have to expect him to like totem stun you guys here when you're both funneling in like this, and he kind of knows that. And once he does, even if you don't expect it, once it does happen, I think you have to give up now because you know like all three are here. You saw a lion run in, so generally I would give up here because this guy is quite low level. You're high, but he's low. So you don't really have that much damage to kill him. Like, what's this guy got? He's just got Infernal Blade, right? Maybe you get the kill, but it's scary. You go for this. I don't ever love when anyone has to Inkswell and then run in. I really think it's better as a follow-up. Like, if Doom uses Infernal Blade, then you Inkswell him, or Inkswell him so that he can run up an Infernal Blade. But you just running in with Inkswell, I think, is extremely optimistic. Change your mind to get in line, which I like. I think you should silence him, though. Just because if you're going to get the kill, you need to, like, you can't let him get the stun off, and you need the damage from the silence. And I think you should also, like, ult now if you're still going to fight. Like, this looks like a good opportunity to ult and then Phantom's Edge. I think I would ult the Jug, maybe, and then double Phantoms. Okay, you get the Lion kill, though. Okay. I'm sure you're aware of this, having played Grimstroke, but just in case you aren't. When you use Q, it always originates from your left side. Where he holds the brush, he always holds it so that the brush head is on his left. And so when you use it, it doesn't like go straight like from Jug to this creep, right? It never goes like this. It goes like this. So you mistargeted that like he was running this way and you like clicked here. And if it had gone straight from your here or there, you would have got him. But you have to do like some geometry and some like big thinking with Grimstroke a bit, especially when people get close, because it comes at that angle of where you click and from the left. And you could have killed him if you had targeted more this way. But more than that, I think you should have soulbound them and then used Phantom's Embrace, and that could have possibly gotten you a double kill. It would have definitely at least allowed your team to kill the Earthshaker, I think, and then he probably gets rid of the Phantom's Embrace. But maybe your team also then casts like double. Oh, she didn't have the mana. Anything. But they're at least stuck together, and I think you can get the kill. Instead, you die. So they're still gonna get this kill, yeah. Are they gonna get him? Lucky bounces. I think it might have been able to kill him if he had been soulbound and Phantom's Embraced. But, like, you might as well just use it, right? You want to use your ults pretty early, and since you got it early, you want to use it, get it on cooldown, ready to use again. So I already said I think this should be Earn, right? Arcanes is an acceptable boot choice. You might consider Tranquils this game because you have a CM, and also because Bloodseeker, you don't want to stay low health against a Bloodseeker. But the mana pool is always nice because, again, we talked about how high your spells cost are. I don't like Ghost Scepter, though. Not first item, because... Let's talk about why you got it. Spiderlings, Juggernaut Ultimate, and Bloodseeker when they auto-attack you, right? These guys don't really care if you have Ghost Scepter or not. They can still hit you with their spells. He can spin on you. He can cast W, but you probably get out. But should you be that close anyways? You know? Especially early game? Is it really such a concern? Like, why are you next to this Juggernaut in general? Like, Doom should be the one doing it. You know, you Inkswell Doom. Send him forward. I don't like Ghost Scepter. In this game, Doom is kind of your initiator, followed by Wraith King. But Grimstroke, as weird as it is, because he's a long-range support, Grimstroke is also kind of an initiator. Because the whole point of Grimstroke, or not, maybe not the whole point, but the big selling point is the double soul bind spells, right? If Doom wanted to use Doom twice, it's confusing that they're both called Doom. He has to get a refresher, right? 5,100 gold. Your ult makes that free at like 10 minutes, right? You hit 6 this game at like 8 minutes, but he doesn't even have Doom yet. But in general, right? Wraith King gets 2 stuns, CM double root, Pugna double suck, Doom double Doom, right? A 5,000 gold item for each one of them with your ultimate. So it's really important for you to get that ultimate off, especially when one of them, like, sure, the stuns and the roots, the suck can come a little late, but Doom needs to be on the right target before they get their spells off, right? So it has to be really quick. And sure, if he gets Centaur Stomp or something, maybe Infernal Blade, he blinks Infernal Blades, blinks Centaur Stomps, maybe you have a second, right? But a lot of times he blinks and dooms right away. And whether it's the first or the second, you need to be there before he uses Doom to get that double Doom off. And so Blink is actually a really good purchase on Grimstroke in a lot of games. Alternatively, this game, a Force Staff would be very good. Force Staff against Earthshaker to get across the wall, away from spin, out of Blood Right, although Force Staff is a little scary against his ultimate. And also against Broodmother, whenever you're in her webs or helping out your teammates, she'll probably get a defusal, right? You just want to be able to Force Staff away, or Force Staff up cliffs to chase her, that kind of thing. So one of those I would have liked.
Dire's middle tower isn't going to last long.
So now you're coming bottom. You buy another Clarity? You used one earlier, right? That seems really unnecessary with a CM and Arcane. Your mid's rocking it. You could look to make plays with him too, because he has his ultimate. I'm not quite sure why CM came bottom.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
I guess you guys can kill Brood, but 3 people to get a Brood. Maybe. She shouldn't be walking like this. She's gonna... Yeah, she dead. Farm them. Nice. That was a lot. Not that you're the Crystal Maiden, but you really can't be in the webs against the Broodmother. Even you don't want to be in the webs. You want to be like at the edge of it, looking to see where she's farming, and then you Q it, right? When she's doing a creep wave or a jungle camp, you try to steal some of the creeps and then kill her spiderlings. Clarity him. That's very generous of you. 3 bottom. I guess you guys want to push. overkill, gonna farm this. So something
Radiant's middle
you want to
tower
think
needs
about.
some help.
Oh, a pause. So something you want to think about as a pause and at when you're getting a tower, right? So like you're probably gonna get this tower. You have a catapult. You got Pugna. Does this guy? Oh, he's used his skeletons earlier. You guys are probably gonna get this tower though. So you need to be thinking about what you're gonna do next. After this game is unpaused, right? But mid isn't the worst. Your creep wave's almost there, and
Let's get on with
no heroes are there. So even though it is a catapult, at least the okay, this is good. That was the right combo. At least there are no heroes there, so it won't take that much damage. You can even fortify it if you really wanted to.
Dire's bottom tower always did get
What
short
I'm
shrift.
leading to though. Okay, yeah. So you TP out, but I don't like this. Pugna is a tower taker, right? Think about the order you want to get towers in. Usually you get this tower, mid tower, and then either this one, and then one of these two, then the other of those two, and then this one, right? So like 1, 2, 3, let's say 4, 5, 6, or maybe like 4, 5, 6, or you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that, right? So either way, this is like the last tower you really want to get in a game because it just doesn't do that much for you. You're just kind of getting this tower so you can get to the racks. But when you get these other towers, it's more for like map control. Even this one doesn't give you that much map control, right? It like lets you come into here safely, right? That's about it. So that's why this was sometimes like even later than these two. But Pugna saw the opportunities, you guys took it. That's fine. But this one, you don't really care about forcing. You only care about sort of defending this one. Because on the reverse side, this is the first tower they want to get. Especially because Broodmother is parked down here. And guess who's really good against Broodmother? You! And you're at position 5. So if you can stall out their very first objective, not to mention keep Broodmother stuck down here, because she wants to be down here, right? So the longer you can like stall her out, the better for you. And it also allows like, now Pugna or Wraith King is going to have to defend this tower, whereas Pugna really wants to go get this top tower, and Wraith King has his Midas, yeah, so he kind of wants to farm jungle and maybe push this a bit. He kind of wants to farm these Ancients, and he kind of also wants to be top, honestly. Getting this tower, farming these camps, getting the Ancient camps, like this area. I'm looking at the minimap. Sorry if you're like looking out here and that was like Dizzy moving too fast. But you, as the Grimstroke, kind of want to be down here. Right now you've TP top, but I don't really know why, because he used Doom. It's down, right? And Earthshaker's here, but he's full health. He's a pretty tanky guy. And you also know that Juggernaut and Lion have been top a lot, right? So kind of have to assume that you just TP'd up here to a tri-lane. And now what? What are you going to do now, you know? I would have much preferred, like you were up here, you had 3 wards on you, so I would have much preferred if you like walked over here, dropped a ward somewhere in this area. You don't really need to have one in your own jungle right now. Maybe one for a Broodmother. But either way, a ward in this area, maybe second one here. And then by that time, this probably would have pushed out here a bit. You could come over here, maybe stack first. Might be like 12 minutes at that point. Stack, check the rune. And then like come here, Q the wave a couple times, you know, push it back so that Broodmother is stuck here. Keeping safe, of course, she can solo kill you, but since your Stroke of Fate is so long, and if you actually hit the Spiderlings out of sight and just kill them, that lowers her kill threat a lot. She needs the spiders to actually kill you. It frees up your Pugna and Wraith King to like be on other parts of the map that they want to be, and it also like you still get to farm. You know, you get to farm your. I would prefer Blink, but your Ghost Scepter in this case. So you're getting farm, you're enabling your team. So that's like a position thing. I think being bottom would have been better. Maybe you guys are going to get a kill here. Juggernaut's coming in. Unlucky. Missed that one. I think you're a little... Take a look at these trees. He actually like can't move this way. You know, he has to go through where he was, through there. Unless he can like Quelling Blade one of these. So yeah, you wanted to aim a little further. but you might have missed anyway, so not the biggest deal. Sorry, spitting noise. Trade him for him, but I don't know if that was worth it. This guy might die now. That's not strictly your fault, because he could have just walked out, but he instead hit the line a couple times. Oh no. Ah! Okay, okay. Now he's dead. So ultimately, this snowballed into 3 for 1. It could have just been 1 for 1. That's kind of their own fault for dying. But it did feel natural for him to keep fighting because of what just happened. And like, I don't know, you can't TP now that the lane is like starting to get close to this tower, right? And you can't help Wraith King if he gets gone on. He's getting gone on. Kinda close. I don't know why she backed away. I think she could have just straight up killed him. I guess because he had his ult, but still, your ult's still going. Just kill him.
Radiant's middle tower
Now you have to like walk to assist him. Could also stack right here. 13 minutes.
in Dire's top tower.
Chasing a Broodmother into trees is like extremely hopeful without actual spells for it. Like Phoenix to clear trees, Timbersaw, that kind of thing. So right now, the other thing I'm not seeing you buy smokes and call for plays with Doom or Pugna. Because Wraith King just wants to farm right now. Maybe you could use him to push a top tower and then let him farm that area. But either way, that has to be a smoke top. So in terms of like, if my game's going too long, part of that is like calling for plays. Which technically anyone can do, it's technically not only your job. But it is easier for supports to do, and especially as a Grimstroke, you want to make use out of your ult. Well, actually, any support wants to make use of their ult. But in this case, you have very good people. See, he just doomed a solo target. Imagine if you had like smoked up, then gotten a double doom pick off. You coming to help him, I guess. Is this good? You don't really know where they are. He's over there. Okay. Scary. Violence. I guess you could ult here, but it seems... Rewind a bit. On one, I kind of want you to ward. You're only like looking up here. I kind of want you to like ward as you're walking up here. Gets the deny. What a player. You haven't used the spells yet, right? Yeah, I was thinking if you should have soulbound and then silenced. I think that might have been good still, but he did just cast all his spells too, so I guess it wouldn't matter as much, even if he used it now. I don't know if you guys are gonna get this. Ooh, miss.
Radiant's top tower deserves just as
How did he know? Did he see you? He might have vision up here. Or I guess you were auto-attacking him, so he had vision. I think you TP out the second you see Jug. Just know he's dead. Yeah, that's too long. I was still pretty close. If you had just TP'd immediately, you would have gotten away. I think you were having some padding issues there. I think you were trying to go into the trees. Okay, you got your Ghost Scepter, you got a lot of wards. This is another reason to smoke up, make a play, ward along the way. The general support play, not just Grimstroke.
Dominating performance.
Walking top to help him, I guess. I don't know. Cause I'm still thinking I want you in bottom lane. And like, see now, look, they're like pushing this and you can't TP yet still. Almost, but like you walked all the way up here and dilly-dallied a bit, so in that time you also could have gotten down here. And you could have been, you know, let's say you could have been like over here and queue all these spiderlings and then back off in case they chase you. And then if they don't, you walk back up again and queue again all the creeps and stuff, you know? And just stall this out as much as you can. But but instead you're still up here and you have to
Radiant's bottom tower
wait.
is under
And I mean, you are clearing creeps off this tower, but remember, this tower is like not as important.
no more.
And a lot of people will tell you not to defend this tower to an extent, since it's like the dead lane and blah blah blah. But because you're Grimstroke, I think you're someone that can defend it and can stall it out. And if you do die, it's not the biggest deal because, you know, whatever, you're position 5 this game. And also you have a Ghost Scepter, you know, so you can Ghost Scepter Inkswell TP out. Oh, I just noticed. I don't love this item, this skill build. So 7-1-1-1, that's pretty standard. Sometimes it varies. But notice on Phantom's Embrace, it goes from 6 hits to 9 hits at levels 2 to 3. That's for creep hits. So for heroes, it's 2 hits, 2 hits, 3 hits, 3 hits. Getting from 2 to 3 is a big deal against heroes like, let's say Juggernaut, so that he doesn't get the spin off. His auto attack speed's pretty fast, so maybe he still gets it off. But other heroes like Quap, you know, in this case you have an Earthshaker Lion, their attack speed's pretty slow, so silencing them, also pretty good, and then they probably can't get it off that whole duration. I think the step to 2 to 3 is like a really big deal. And usually there's like one very elusive hero in every game, like Puck, Quap, like those kind of guys, you know? Getting a Weaver, Void, all those people. So, I think that's the gold talent. So usually I do like 7-1-1-1, and then I get this up to level 3, and then I max this one, and then this one. And then getting the talents and ults along the way, you know? This is kind of nice, but I don't know. I just think the attacks to destroy, I think, is just like a really big step up. And I think at this stage of the game, you're usually not in full team fight. It's usually like small skirmishes still. And so I think like the 1 second is enough as a follow-up stun to like Doom going in, you know? I think that's enough time to kill people when you surprise them. Yeah. But there have been nerfs, so
Haste.
some people do max stun out first. You don't need it, I guess you don't. But in this game, I think I would get it for a Juggernaut, maybe for a Earthshaker and Lion, so they can't cast too many spells and their attack speeds are slow. While you can now, I think I might drop a ward on this high ground here, because Broodmother's gonna move into this area. She's gonna be in these trees, and you just want to be able to see that. So see how now you're pushing out creep waves? On one hand, it is still something you need to do, but now your team is actually here, you know? And now this is, like, safe to do, so it's now, like, now you're the position 5 taking, like, safe farm, which is kind of weird. No one was coming for it, so I guess it's okay. But maybe no one was coming for it because you were there. I don't know. But, like, here it was dangerous, and that's why it's okay, because you're the least valuable person on... Actually, you're doing really well this game, so you're probably not the least valuable. But you're the only one who can actually do it, because your spells are so long range. And you tend to be on the lower end value as a support. But now it's like kind of safe over here. Until like these guys are over here, then you can be just you. But when they're all here, kind of someone else can do it. I don't know. It's hard to explain exactly. Slow down. Is this going to be a fight? Is this worth soul binding? Yes, Doom. That might have been a good chance to like soul bind these two guys. Doom him before he can use his ultimate. Oh, he didn't have it. Do we know that? Maybe you guys realize that or not, but at this point, I probably would be like, he might have it. Get ruptured. Choose not to fight. That's fair. He is kind of low, and now you're kind of low. But you guys are still, like, aggressively kind of weird.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
That died right down there. They're diving. You need to soulbind. I think maybe him or the Jug. Soulbind and then use Phantom's Embrace instead of just solo Phantom Embracing now. I think, like, you guys are getting low, so that's why he's starting to run fast. So that's when, remember I talked about soulbinding him would be pretty good. And you get the double off. And then it also gives Doom a target, right? He's trying to just wait for you to use it, but right now he's, like, still stuck waiting. He's low, so he has to come out and use Doom. But until you do it, he kind of has to keep waiting. Kind of running out now. He's trying to Doom the Jug. Okay, now ulting him too would have been good. Yeah, see, Soulblind now comes out. Wraith King was TPing in too, so if you'd used it a bit sooner, you could have gotten the double stun off. Double Atos, double suck. That's pretty good. Gonna get the Jug next, hopefully. Get out. He has a Manta. Yeah, so I think that fight could have gone a little better for you if you Soulbind a bit sooner and then Phantom's Embrace, blah blah blah. You even had like a Ghost Scepter and stuff too, you know, so you can be a little more aggressive. And in that time, you guys lost this bottom tower, so it's like undecisive. If you guys fought sooner, ended it sooner, you might have had time. Whoops, my friends are inviting me to play. Let me tell them. Hold on. Nothing's happening right now. I think I would have liked the high ground ward a bit more. Second ward here. This seems a lot just to spot a Brood, and she already took the T2 as well. I think maybe just this high ground one, and then instead of one up here and here, you can place it. Let me free camera. This is perfect actually. This is showing the range. So see how the sentry covers about here, and you've placed that just about the edge, so that's really far. This is another common area to sentry. Oh look, perfect. You have another one here. So that covers about here, right? So putting a ward right in this area tends to be pretty nice because it covers both of these camps. And if a Broodmother wants to cover here with webs too, you'll see her like moving in between here, all of this stuff, and then combined with this one plus this one up here, although this one's about to fade. Like it gives you this good triangle of vision. Although now that I see that this is about to fade, maybe just this one so that you can see a bit more of the entrance. The reason I was putting it here was for, again, because that was there. So maybe now like somewhere up here instead. But right now you have like this straight line, and that just seems like a little excessive. Especially since like there's not really an objective for you guys that you want here. And there's not really anything for you to defend along here anymore either. Only back here. I don't know. Don't love it. So I already said I would like a Blink. I would have liked a Soul Vessel. I think I would have gone something like Arcane, Soul Vessel, Blink this game. Aether, if you're behind, is okay, but in this game you're doing pretty well. So I don't really feel the need for it. And it's kind of similar to like what you want Blink for, right? Is to be able to ult from further away. Yeah, I won't go further into that. This is scary now. You don't have a tower, and yeah, boom. I don't have a TP. This was kind of a panic ult, I think. You definitely don't want to ult there. If you're ever by yourself, it's almost never worth to ult as Grimstroke, because really you can't do anything by yourself. You're very dependent on having someone else, and so panic using it is almost always the wrong choice. Ghost Scepter E TP out is what should have gone on, but you didn't have a TP. I think from that fight earlier, right? So right now, see, this is a team issue, and it's not necessarily your fault, but you need to be able to recognize it because it improves you as a player, and I'm not sure if you do or not, so I'm going to go into it. Look at the map right now. Look what's happening. Where do you have towers? Top and mid, right? Mid, top. Where do you not have towers? Bottom. Where are the enemy heroes? You have a Juggernaut mid, two guys top, I don't know where Earthshaker is, and a Brood down here. Where are all your heroes? You guys are all down here. Giving up this one for free, and this one for free. And what are you even getting? A Brood kill? Let's say you kill Brood, right? You have everyone bottom. What do? Do you push bottom all the way over here? That's like a 2-minute push. By the time you kill Brood and push all the way up, and by the time the creeps follow up, you know, a minute's passed. And again, remember this, we talked about it. This is like the least valuable tower you could possibly get. And in the time you do this, still no one has addressed these, so they're gonna get these two, right? And so that's why I was kind of emphasizing your importance in being able to solo protect this bottom lane and allowing your team to like stay everywhere else. Sorry, I was still just looking at the minimap and just flinging this around. But right now your team as a whole, which includes you, but is also mostly not you, you're just giving up your map right now for no reason. Like, all of this is now being forfeited. Once they get these two towers, this whole triangle becomes a lot scarier, right? You're giving up half of your map to chase this Broodmother right now.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
I don't like this either. TPing to lane. This whole talk about, like I was talking about wanting to TP, keeping your TP so you could get to bottom and stuff if you needed it. Let's see what you do, right? We'll fuse. Fight's breaking out now. Alright. Before we get into that fight, right? You're TPing. But right now, you're Grimstroke. You'd probably be around here at this point, okay? If you had walked instead of TP'd. 2 seconds, so like around here maybe, right? Now here, about here, about here, about here, here. So in that time, I think I was a little slow, honestly. I do think you would be about here. Well, 20 seconds. It's a hard call. It takes about 30 for you to walk out total, and you've got this. So I do think around here, right? If you weren't here, your team wouldn't have been aggressive yet. So they would have been a bit further back. And you would now be here, ready to be aggressive, right? So I guess I'm saying, like, I don't think TPing here accomplished anything. And now, if you need to come bottom, you're going to have to walk there, right? Let's watch again, just to be sure. TP here. And you Q once. Now your team looks to be aggressive because you're all here, I guess. But would it really have killed your team to be slightly less, like, a couple seconds slower? Waiting for you to, like, come in with a smoke, even? That would be even better. Tell your team, hey, come meet me with a smoke. You guys all walk back here, smoke, and then walk up? Surprise them? That would have been a lot better, you know? Did you guys kind of just, like, walk up off this 1 Atos, and then everyone's trying to run up now? And, you guys get echoed for it because you're, like, rushing in. You need to soulbind, but Doom is dead, so now it's awkward, right? So the way you guys want to take team fights, again, you're like the initiator. Because you have Doom and you want him to double Doom people, you have to go in first, is how these team fights want to break out. And you always know Broodmother wants to be bottom, right? So any team fight should be 4v5. And if you double Doom someone, that's half the team. If you can then, like, even if you don't kill them, they're doomed for and bound together for, like, what is this? 7 seconds. Doom lasts longer than that. 16 seconds, right? So they'll be individually doomed even after they're no longer soulbound. Half the team is gone for 15 seconds, right? Broodmother's down there. There's 2 people left. You have all 5 people. So surely you can get some kills and, like, clean up that team fight very cleanly, right? But instead, they're winning a 4v5 because you guys pushed in and he blink echoed you. Like, they got the jump on you. And that is not good. Not how you want to play Grimstroke, even though it's not wholly in your control. Makes it in time. That's good. I think you wanted to silence that Earthshaker. You have Ghost Scepter, so you can just Ghost Scepter, ignore him. This is bad. You know why?
Double kill.
Yeah, this is why. By the time you looked, though, it was already 1,000. So I want to point out, right? He was about to die. And then you opened up that fight with Soulbind Double Doom, right? And then even though he was dead, you guys won a 4v4, 3 for 1, essentially, right? That is the power of getting Double Doom off. Imagine if that was on your own terms earlier, right? But the reason it's bad, look, you still can't teleport yet, because you TP'd here earlier, which is what I was talking about, right? So if you had walked here, you'd have TP and you could get down here. Instead, you guys did this whole fight, and I don't think you should have. This is good. Okay, you see Brood bottom? This is when you start calling, hey, we need to go bottom. Wraith King died. That's okay. You know, you got Lion and Bloodseeker. Although you guys lost this earlier fight, like, this is technically a new fight. You're now 2-1. That's, like, okay. Just one person needs to go bottom, and it could be you, right? How much are you going to contribute here? Because you don't have a blink anyways, right? You have to walk all the way over. If you had a TP, you could solo defend this. That is the power. I said that a couple times. I'm trying not to now. I'm self-conscious of it. But Grimstroke can hold lane solo because of Stroke of Fate. Because of the fact that it does more damage. It already does 300. That's a ton. And then it adds 40 more per unit. Against a Broodmother or even just normal creeps, like, you Q the wave once, twice, it's gone, you know? Once, and it's almost completely gone anyways, right? The second time is just to finish it off. But if your creeps are there at all, they'll all die. And if you auto-attack at all, they'll all die, you know? And so now, the 29,
Not much good's happening to Radiant's bottom tower.
face all this Earthshaker.
Hello, this is Gabe Newell. Thanks for playing Dota 2.
7 seconds.
Double kill.
It's gone to half, right? Another 7, it's gone.
Radiant has fortified their
Fortify, buy yourself a couple seconds.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
TP in is another couple seconds. So if you guys didn't have Fortify, you would have just lost your T3 for an Earthshaker. Does that seem reasonable? Nah. And your team could have gotten this Earthshaker if only you were able to TP back, you know? So that's kind of why it's really important to, like, walk out as supports and save your TP. If your team's not fighting immediately right here, there's no need to TP. If you're looking to take a fight, walk out with a smoke, fight, and then be able to TP back. Especially against someone that can rat like a Broodmother. You want to stay conscious of that rat potential. And like Pugna could also defend a T3 on his own, right? But who do you want in a fight more? You, after you've used your Soulbind with these 3, or your mid Pugna, who his ult is back up, he's got all these items, got all these low cooldown spells, right? You want him in the fight, because after he wins a fight, he can take a tower. What are you going to do? Auto-attack the tower, right? 200 damage to towers every 5 seconds. It's crazy. A little less than 200, but you get the idea, right? It was kind of a long way of saying, like, what was your role this game? And your role this game was to hold towers against pushes with your Stroke of Fate, and to also initiate fights with Soulbind. And that's kind of not what this itemization has. It sort of helped you, but this item build to me is more about, I see it more as like, I want to be in fights and survive, and not, I want to initiate and then run away, and I want to be able to hold, well, the Aether helps you hold a tower from far away, so I don't mind the Aether, but the Ghost Scepter, honestly, even Ghost Scepter will help you protect a tower from Brood, right? If she tries to dive you, you can Ghost Scepter, and buy yourself some time. But where you're positioning and how you're going about it is not helping those 2 objectives I just mentioned.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Your wards are very, like, all together. You guys see this whole area, and I don't know if that's useful. I know it's hard to get out deep wards, but that's when you would do that when you smoke and move out. But your team has not been, like, playing together and, like, keeping lane pressure pushed out, even though you have, like, really good wave clear. You guys are all, like, focused on this Broodmother, and one of you needs to say, hey, just Grimstroke can do that. Technically, Pugna could do it, and CM could maybe do it. CM, I think, would die more than you would, though, because you can just do it farther. You'd say, hey, guys, I'm the safest person to hold bottom safely. Me versus Brood. You guys can win 4v4s without me, if need be. Or we take a 5v4 and then I quickly TP back, you know? Recognize what your hero can do. Grimstroke's very good at holding a lane on his own. Better than a lot of other heroes. And that would allow them to play mid and top and not give that up for free. Brood's like doing the opposite of what you need to do. You know, she's like solo pressuring the towers, and you need to be solo relieving pressure from those towers. And then you kind of like that because you're just gonna farm spiderlings and creepways, and you're just a support, you know. So it's all good for you. This is a really you guys had complete vision in this bottom lane, and I still feel like you were surprised by that team fight. You saw those spiders coming in behind, so you know you're at risk. Try to TP out and ditch your team. Not allowed to. I kind of get it. This is going to be lost. Oh. Let's wind up further again, one more time, right? What led to this? Why are you guys all down here? Right? Again, there's like nothing for you here. These are not the lanes you want to be in. Only one person, the only thing you care about in this bottom lane anymore is to not lose this T3. As long as the wave is pushed out a bit, you don't really need to be here. This is like a one-person job. Your team is like... The way to play against Broodmother is to go anywhere she is not. One person stalls her out, and everyone else plays where she is not. And right now you guys are all like, hey, you know the really stationary Broodmother that can't show up to team fights? Let's go to her lane that we have no objective in. And so that's kind of why you guys are losing this game right now.
You have a mother. Shire's top tower is under attack.
Bug. Get it? Aha. It's a bug.
Dominating, I guess.
Little tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
This fight's messy. He doomed without you, which isn't strictly your fault. But you did kind of... I wouldn't call it a panic. I guess you thought maybe. But at the same time, you tried to ditch the fight, and then you used it after you couldn't, which means you already thought it was a lost fight, and you still committed your ult, even though I don't think Doom was there. Maybe for Pugna, I guess it would have been okay. But I don't know. If you think it's a lost fight, you probably shouldn't use it, and now you'd be able to use it here in this base defense. But he used Doom early anyways, so I guess it doesn't really matter. You guys are getting split pushed to death.
They're unstoppable.
I'm okay with that. So I just want to clarify while nothing's happening. In this game, I've been talking a lot about how you counter the Brood, right? But you do this every game, okay? As Grimstroke, if you guys are not fighting, not grouped up, doing something, you know, and you're like, what do I do in my free time? I want you to figure out which lane is the most dangerous for your team to be in, and you go there safely as possible, and just keep it pushed out with Stroke of Fate. Farm up items. When ults are all up, tell your team to group up with a smoke, go make it something happen, and then when you see a lane being pushed against you guys, tell your team to back off, or context, you'll have to figure that out, right? But you are the guy who can always keep a lane out safely because of how Stroke of Fate works. And I'm not seeing that this game, and so I feel like you may not be doing that in other games. Look at all this. You're gonna Q it. Nice. You look at that. 2 Qs and you save the tower. It wouldn't be a bad idea to like drop a ward outside either. That would help you stay alive. Maybe like On this hill is a little risky if they have a sentry here, which there's a good chance they have. So maybe just like a ward over here, because that would let you like see all of this, and it's unlikely they sentry this area. And that would just let you, like you guys are already trapped in your base a bit, you know, so you're gonna have some extra wards, so it doesn't hurt to place them to make sure you can defend this tower, right? Like worthwhile to commit 50 gold and 1 observer as a way to help protect your T3. Again, I feel like this was your own base. You guys got surprised. But for one, you probably have a sentry in your base. Whenever you're stuck in a high ground defense like this, make sure they don't have vision in your base. Should slow down. Okay, echoed. You're gonna be able to. I think you should be spamming Soul Bind as you're dying there, because you know a team fight's coming and Doom is on his way, right? Yeah, echoed. So right now, I would be spamming Ghost Scepter, and then I see these two guys together. I'm gonna ult the Broodmother. You may not have had time to do it. I think you would have gotten the Soul Bind off though. And then Doom comes in, and then he's able to get a Doom off, you know? Then you buy back TP in this case, actually. Let's see how far you get in 2 seconds. 2.5 second channel time, right? So here, or you TP here and immediately fight. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, because this is like another 2 seconds here. But in these kind of base defenses, it can make quite a big difference, especially if he hadn't used Doom yet and you need this Soulbind right away. Sometimes TPing into your own base defense can make a big deal. Walking, not the biggest issue though. Are getting split push though. I probably would have made the same choice to go to the fight instead of going top. This doesn't feel good. Raid King shouldn't be out that far. I feel like you guys have lost at this point. Should be buying back though, actually. You waited too long and now you're dead. It's much better to soulbind aggressively than defensively, if that makes sense. You want it to be on your terms. An Ags, huh? You're going for a Scythe? I'm not sure if Windlight after this Boots was necessary. But it does fill the slot, so I don't mind it. Yeah, Scythe is pretty good. I would still like Blink, but that's just like beating a dead horse at this point. I've already explained why I like Scythe, or Blink. And then I would get a Scythe after that. Just because it's super good, then you can Soulbind, Scythe, Silence, and then let Doom follow up, you know? Double Hex is really powerful.
For the twins.
You drop those, but I'm not sure why. You have the slot for it.
Yes.
We're just zooming along now. I'm just eating a milkshake. I think that squeak made its way into the mic though. Sorry. I don't know, nothing's happening at this point. Which is how I felt like a lot of this game. Like you were talking about how the game seemed long. I would say it's because nothing's happening. You're like this team with like really good Soulbind, Double Doom, whatever, and I just never saw you guys like be the ones like being aggressive. You guys were always just responding to being pushed. Dead. And if you're gonna play Grimstroke a lot, you need to be the one to make those calls to say, alright, whenever we have Doom up and Soulbind, you get next to me, we smoke, we go, kill 2 people. That's like doing something, you know, that's how plays happen, and it'll feel a lot more natural to get towers after that. Like after you get a double kill, even better than a solo pickoff, right? This game just felt very reactionary to being pushed. I think this is the cast range talent. I hope it is. Let's check real quick. I hope I didn't just crash my game. Is it being so slow? I don't know. Yeah, you get the GPM and the cast range talent. In this game, actually, I might consider getting Spell Amp because there's a Broodmother. Specifically against Broodmother, I always think about this. And sometimes when the game is really tough and I feel that we're on the back foot, sometimes I get the Spell Amp because you just do so much with Stroke of Fate, right? When there are so many creeps, you just do a lot of damage. And I get the Stroke of Fate cast range talent at 20 if we're really losing. And we need to defend high ground a lot, more than the +1 hit to kill Phantom. And then the Stroke of Fate damage, for the same reason, otherwise Inkswell. Just because usually I don't care about the Stroke of Fate damage. But in games when we're like desperate and really need damage, and especially when they have a Broodmother to amplify, like, yeah, see, like, it amplifies the bonus too, right? So it's not just the base, but the bonus damage. So you just do like a crazy amount of damage against Spiderlings. Helps you hold towers, and again, it increases your ability to do what I was talking about, solo hold a lane, right? Usually you don't need to do that. If you're doing well, that's why cast range and all that, it lets you do the other part, team fighting, very well. So that's why in games when I feel behind, that's when I get the Stroke of Fate damage. Okay, so even though you guys got Echo, this is still the best fight for you guys so far. You got the double Doom, you got the Soulbind, everything. I don't think Bloodseeker was here either. It's probably what helped. Oh no. Well, it was going well for you guys. Going mixed. I would back off. Once Bloodseeker, I think once you guys get Aegis, that's cause to get out.
There we go. Hello. This is
Well, I
Gabe.
would have been tempted to go for it. It was like so many of you against just Judge.
Double kill.
But
It happened again.
Bloodseeker was about to
More
be
than
up.
2 kills, but
I
less
don't know.
than 4 kills.
At this point, though, I don't... Oh, that sounds really bad. I was about to say I don't really care at this point, but I do feel like I've said a lot about Grimstroke, and at this point you guys are just fighting a losing game, which you could come back from it. It's just really hard, and I don't expect to see it that much in a pub. If you guys want to come back at this point, you just need to get a lot of good double Soulbind Doom plays, and they need to throw. And so that's kind of dependent on them throwing more than you guys, like, winning. Very nice.
Fate come to an end.
Did it change?
Battle
No, no, no.
resumes.
I thought it like picked a new wrong talent tree to show instead of the last one. Fly out the scythe.
Double kill.
That's really bad.
Radiant's bottom barracks have fallen.
I think you might have wanted to buy out your scythe, send the courier this way, Pretty much when you're on a desperate last hold, you need to like spend your money, you know? Or staff, something, you have an empty slot. When games are really bad, I buy like a casual bracer, like anything, because you know this like your final fights. And every edge you can try to get. Or four staff's really good. Yeah, looks like the game's extending here. Three recap though, it was a little weird. Usually I would talk more about the aggression in lane as Grimstroke, but since it was against since you were a 5 and against a Broodmother, I didn't really get to talk about that as much, like looking to auto attack and like shield up on the off lane, that kind of thing. But you sapped a bit of XP, which is no good as a 5. Like sometimes it's necessary, but other times like, well, I would just be repeating it all at this point. I'm sure you got the gist of it when I was saying it the first time. The bigger mistake was like more of a team thing, of not being the aggressors, of not being the ones to use Soulbind aggressively, you know, get the jump on them with Double Doom. Then you guys all just like focus too much on Broodmother, and the team was able to rat you guys until you felt like you were really stuck on the back foot, and you guys were all just like huddled in your base. And when that starts to happen, you're in a real pickle. Did my game freeze? I was gonna demonstrate it, but I guess I'll just say it now. This didn't really show up in the game, but if you soulbind someone, like let's say you soulbind a lion and it connects to the Juggernaut. Let's say you target the lion and it connects to Juggernaut. If you kill lion, the soulbind disappears because it was based on lion. But if you soulbind the Juggernaut and then you kill the lion, it will now look for a new target from Juggernaut to the next hero. So what I'm saying is, if you have the choice, sometimes you don't, try to ult the more survivable of the two heroes, and hope that if you get a kill, it'll then soulbind another person as well. And similarly, when you have two people soulbound and you use Phantom's Embrace, if Phantom's Embrace goes off, it refreshes, right? But when you use it, again in that example, Lion and Jug, let's say I cast it on the Juggernaut, and then the second copy goes to Lion. Juggernaut has a really fast attack speed, he destroys my Phantom's Embrace, and it dies. And Lion does not, because he has a slow attack speed, and it damages him. But because it was the second copy, it doesn't refresh your spell. So if you have the choice between, say, Juggernaut Lion, use your Phantom's Embrace on the hero that's less likely to break it. So use it on Lion in this case, and then even if the second copy gets killed by Juggernaut, it'll still refresh from Lion, and then you can cast it a second time. Those are just some like nifty tips for him, I guess. Sometimes you can't really control it, you just have to like spam it out, you know, but if you ever have the nice time to decide, who shall I cast it on, keep that in consideration. A lot of these are spiderlings. Great cast range. I would have done that in that game too, I think. Yeah, so you guys like started out well and then brooded and you didn't respond to it properly. So I do think, I'm not going to put it all on you this game, right? But I do think you could do a lot to help your own game in this case if you think more about what lanes you can solo hold as Grimstroke, in this case against the Broodmother. It'll get you farmed, it'll buy your team space, it'll slow down the enemy team. It's kind of the next level of supporting, besides just like, you know, buy wards, herp derp, pull, auto attack the enemy heroes. You know, that's like the first step of learning to support. The second step is like developing this understanding on the map of where to be, and every hero has a different sense of that based on their abilities. And Grimstroke so happens to love either being in fights because of Soulbind, or pushing out waves that his carries don't need to farm. And so the way to balance that is to like push the wave out quickly, smoke up, go get into your fight, and then when Soulbind is on cooldown, you like either TP out or run back down to the wave you need to be at, and then like repeat. So I hope that helped. Ancient 7's pretty high, and I think people are good enough at this level to make use of Grimstroke if you play him well. So look to use Soulbind a little more aggressively, try to call for those plays, and I'm pretty sure people will be generally good enough to follow up on you with it if you tell them, try to wait for me to use it first. Most people will appreciate that communication, follow up, and I think that would help you a lot. along with knowing that whole positioning thing I mentioned. And also try to play him 4. I like him a lot more in 4. But, you know, play him where you can. He's an okay 5. I'm just like a greedy player. But I do think he's just better fit in 4. Okay, that's all I got for this. Good luck out there.